Hey, middle-aged musician here, and today I was going to talk about my old Blood Noise Endeavors Black Fountain. I think this is the V3, but I think that this pedal was maybe the first or one of the first pedals that old Blood Noise Endeavors made. I think this one says it has a serial number of 307. But yeah, you see the black fountain, the oil geyser. So this is something to reproduce the sound of an oil can delay. So what's an oil can delay? Uh, so this was a technology that was developed, I believe, maybe in the late 50s, early 60s. And it used something kind of the size of a tuna can full of some sort of oil. I've heard various theories on what it was, some sort of mineral oil, maybe. But it acted, it would hold a charge, sort of like a capacitor. So it was, in a lot of ways, kind of like a capacitor without capacitor is this dielectric and then insulating and dielectric and insulating. So this is like the dielectric. And you have a pickup in there, and you had a belt sloshing this thing around, and the pickup would get the signal. You'd throw the signal in there, charge the oil would electrostatically hold that charge, and as it spun around, the pickup would pick that up and you get a delay. And the faster it goes, the slower it goes. You can kind of vary it. I think it was called like a Ray Bell, I don't know, something. I don't remember what the original ones were called, but a few companies made them. Not that common. Supposedly, Ry Cooder used that as part of his early sound. I'd have to dig further into that. With a lot of these artists, early equipment is often a little bit of a rabbit trail of myth, so I'm not really going to do that. But I do want to talk about this pedal. The first knob here, is fluid. So obviously referencing the fact this is a oil tin. This isn't. It's reproducing it. Time. So that's going to be related to the belt driving it. Mix. So dry wet mix. And feedback, which is an interesting feature on this. Also has a modern mode, an organ mode. So these were using, kind of the 60s organs of the time, in a vintage mode, which is going to be kind of the most original. Each one has its own thing. I kind of like the vintage with a lot of feedback. And then we have this other switch here, which you can see you've got like a quarter note, eighth note. Well, that's, and I guess one note, two notes and triplets. Has a tap, as a lot of modern delays do, and interestingly, it has a bypass. So this is on. You click this to go bypass. So it's an aggressive way of asserting yourself. It's a cool sounding pedal, so I'll demonstrate it. I'm not gonna do anything fancy. I'm just gonna take this. Oh, and I should also mention, it has an extra jack for an expression pedal, and I'll demonstrate that. But yeah, I'm not gonna do anything fancy. I'm just gonna take this straight into my Scarlett. And guitar straight into the Scarlett, and show some of the sounds off. It's a pretty cool. There's some of the, I guess the way I would put it, to distinguish itself from other delays. Some of the more extreme sounds from this really stand out to show what it can do. It's pretty unique, but again, you can get some of these same sounds without this pedal, without that much difficulty, even some of the extreme sounds with the right pedal. But you know, maybe hope to show you why this might be a useful thing to put in your arsenal. I do like stacking delays, same way I like stacking distortions. Delays and reverbs, can get you in this interesting place. So if you pair them up appropriately, you can get some interesting things. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to show, this pedal on its own. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy my videos. Consider at least liking, if not subscribing. I'd appreciate it. Really trying to kind of build this channel up. And that is it. So hope you enjoy the video, and I will chat with you here in a minute. Thanks. Okay, so I took the back off here, and just to poke around, look at it. We kind of have this printed circuit board. I see here that's in a socket, so theoretically you could swap that out. The rest of them are all surface mount. Lots of surface mount stuff here, so not the easiest to modify. There's an empty socket hole there, so I'm not sure what that is. Little trimmer here, so you should be able to kind of modify the sound a little bit by adjusting that. This one is straight up down, vertical at first. So this looks like it was, they sent it off, had it manufactured, maybe they manufacture it in-house. Jacks, not bad. Switch is not bad. Like I said, final assembly stuff, you have these soldering, these wires. It's all green wires, so not sure why they chose just one single color. I do like to color code stuff myself, so I know what I'm looking at. But apparently there was a run on green wires. I'm not sure. They've got the green wires, lots of SMT components. So a little trim capacitor there. Little capacitors there, or not trim capacitor, little trim resistor there. And just some wiring. There's enough excess wire here, so you should be able to sort of take the board out. You just unscrew these little guys on either side and take them out. But it kind of looks like they get the board assembled. They make a handful of solder connections here, and then that's kind of it. So, like I said, it's maybe not the easiest thing to modify. It's a neat little circuit, but it's all digital here, as you can see, and it's pretty well made, and it's made so you can service it. These extra amounts of lead in a DC kind of circuit like this, you're not necessarily worried about noise the same way you are in like a tube amp or something. So I think this is for serviceability. Having this extra, they here you can see where they, okay, let me change that. Here you can see where there's a little hot glue keeping this down, so it's not just like the little straggling thing here. Going to ground. Well, that one's not. This one's going to ground. But yeah, that's the inside of it. Nothing too interesting there, other than the fact that you can modify this circuit, but it's not the same as like a old fuzz face or something, where these are these nice discrete components. All these things just it just gets put in a flow bench, and all the surface mount stuff gets soldered in, with the exception, like I said, of this little chip here. What is that? You see that little chip there, and then this adjustment here. Little transistors. Yeah, a couple transistors. These little metal things. These are little transistors here. But first up, the capacitors. This is a little interesting guy here. Oh, that's a thermistor? I don't know what that is. First glance. But anyway, that is the inside gut view. So hope you enjoy this, and hope you find it useful. It's well made, I'll say that, but it's not as user serviceable as some other things, so take that for whatever that's worth. So final thoughts. This is a well-made pedal. It does a very good job of reproducing a certain vintage sound, a kind of unusual vintage sound, and it can be a useful addition to your arsenal. I have a tendency to go for the sort of whacked out, maybe less usable to a lot of people. I like to do a lot of cinematic stuff, ambient stuff. So, I gravitate towards that, but it's really easy to do with this pedal. That being said, things I like about this, I like the sounds. It has a lot of options. It's very well built. And it seems to have maybe a couple of options for tuning, tweaking, and there's a certain level of serviceability to this. The things I don't like, that serviceability is probably because of the number of surface mount technology or surface mount components on there, unless there are certain discrete components that fail, such as the socket mounted chip, such as some of the transistors. It's going to be very difficult to replace that board or replace components on that board. You're probably going to replace the board. So that, as I've gotten older, in my 50s, I've started looking at, how serviceable is the equipment I have over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So that might be a potential strike. I like the number of ways you can use in the features. At the same time, sometimes that can be a bit of a stumbling block where you just have too many options. I don't know. With this particular pedal, I don't think that really hits you, but it has a potential to. Other than that, this is a little bit of an all or none pedal. It does get into freaky territory pretty quickly. I don't mind that, but it, I think, limits the usability of it. You're going to have a more extreme sound with this. That mix knob, that wet dry, can really help you, but at the tail end of that, you probably noticed I had the mix. I usually think of the mix as like 50-50, maybe more wet than dry. This is one where you're more dry than wet. So take that for what it's worth. But overall, I think it's an impressive pedal. I think it's unique enough that it's worthwhile having in your arsenal. If you like some of the sounds that it was doing, and again, you can probably look at some other reviews and people are doing different things with it, and mine sound way different because I probably tend to push things into the isolated pocket of this is what this thing does. It sounds very different, so it tends to be a little more extreme. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will chat with you next time.